Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
Welcome one and all to this episode of the Newfangled Motion Picture Show. I'm your host, Niall.
And I'm Nolan.
And this is our first review since...
Wonder Woman?
Wonder Woman? 84? Is it 84?
Yeah.
Wonder Woman 1984? 86.
84.
84.
Yep, Wonder Woman 84.
And that was our last one?
That was our last one.
Okay. So that was
That was January.
yeah. Wow. We didn't do... yeah, I think the only movies we saw in February was Lord of the Rings. And we're not going to review that.
No, we saw the Little Things, and for whatever reason, we never actually reviewed it.
Oh. Yeah, okay. Well, here we are reviewing Chaos Walking. A sci-fi science fiction movie starring Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. Oh, wait. Getting ahead of myself here.
You always do.
Yeah. So we're going to do a spoiler-free review, just to let everyone know. And then we're going to give a spoiler warning and get more in-depth into it after that. But yeah, so anyway, so if you haven't seen the trailers for this I believe was a movie that was supposed to come out months ago, right? Originally?
Yeah, I know that, like, Tom Holland went right into filming this at the end of, was it Endgame or
Yeah.
something? So, like, this movie has been sitting around in the can for a bit, I think.
I
think there were some reshoots and stuff, but I don't know.
Yeah, IMDb doesn't list when they finished it, just when they released it. Yeah, so anyway, came out last week in the US, but, you know, it's not like there's a whole lot to see right now anyway, so, but yeah, anyway, it's a sci-fi movie starring Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley. It takes place on this planet that's like, we think the first and so far only colonized planet of humans.
I think so.
There was nothing to indicate that there are other colony planets that we could tell.
No, there was a line.
Was there?
So, Daisy Ridley's character, she's concerned with contacting her ship because if they show up, don't find her there, she said they'll move on to the next planet.
Ah, okay. Yeah, so, yeah. Alright. But anyway, so, yeah, Tom Holland's character, he's part of this colony where, for whatever reason, on this planet, all the men have their thoughts projected. And, you know, that could just be, a lot of the time it's just sort of like, you know, words, noise, whatever.
They call it the noise.
Yeah, they call it the noise, but, you know, most of the time it's just words or memories, you know, kind of stuff that you would, you know, normally keep to yourself. And sometimes it projects as, you know, more in-depth images and stuff. But so in this colony, we find out from Mads Mikkelsen that all the women were killed by the local alien species. You know, like some years prior to the events of the movie, and Tom Holland is the last
he's the youngest
person in the colony. So the last person born before all the women were killed. And Daisy Ridley crashes there. And that's where the movie picks up.
Yeah, she's part of the scouting team for the next wave of colonists. They're supposed to be there.
Yeah, so her pod like has an error coming into the planet.
Well, I think the pilot like freaks out when they pass into the atmosphere and suddenly all their thoughts are projected outward.
Was that what happened?
I think.
It was kind of unclear.
Yeah,
like they're just
wasn't,
descending.
It wasn't real clear what was happening, but I think that might have had something to do with it. And everyone's freaking out, and she's the only survivor. But anyway, so this is, I guess, based off of some YA novels.
Yeah, it sure feels.
And I don't know
it.
if this is supposed to be just the first book, or they took all 3 of them because it's a trilogy and made it into this movie. Now I was glancing at some of the reviews on IMDb, and it seems like everyone who didn't like the movie read the books.
Okay.
And then if you didn't read the books, pretty much everyone was like, "Yeah, it's pretty good." And that was my thought on it. This movie is a lot better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, we were like, that concept's kind of dumb. Seems like a trashy YA novel.
Which it apparently was, but I actually enjoyed the movie. I thought it was definitely better than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's pretty much self-contained. That's why I feel like it might be all 3 books.
Yeah, maybe they cut out like, some cool Tom Bombadil character or something, and everyone's freaking out.
Everyone's freaking out over the lack of Tom Bombadil. So I don't know. But it's got a really low score on IMDb, right? Or pretty bad. It's like a 5 or something.
It's like a 5 point something. Hold on, let's see, 5.8. Which
I definitely think it deserves better than that.
I would say around a 7. I'd probably give this movie a 7.
Mm-hmm.
At least a 6.5. But it definitely deserves better than a 5.8. And I mean, the cast is great.
Yeah.
Like
Tom Holland and Mads Mikkelsen are always good.
Yeah, and that David, whose name I can never. Or was it David? No, who is it? Who's the preacher?
Oh, I don't know who that. I've seen him and stuff, but I don't know who it was.
Yeah, that was David. Oh man, I'm away. Yellow.
Oh yeah.
He's like Kenyan or something, isn't he? Well,
he's British, but I mean his
parents
came from like Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Came from
Okay.
Nigeria.
That's what it was. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, he's a great actor. Daisy Ridley's great. Mads Mikkelsen's great. Nick Jonas is in it, and he's actually... I actually like Nick Jonas in movies. Don't care for his music, but,
Well, yeah, so... Hey, where was I at? Yeah, overall, I thought the movie was pretty decent. The visual effects, what there was good.
Yeah, basically there was like a scene with one of the aliens and then the like thought cloud around them.
And the spaceship at the beginning.
Oh yeah, and the spaceship, yeah.
And at the end. So yeah, I mean it's overall it was alright. I guess I mean, especially if they took 3 books and compressed it into this movie that's like an hour and 40 minutes, I could see where it'd be disappointing for people who are fans of the books, but having not even known of their existence prior to this movie, it was fine.
Yeah. I mean, you got to see Tom Holland and all of his muscles.
Oh man, yeah, like he looks skinny when he's wearing a shirt, but then there's scenes where he takes his shirt off, or he's wearing like a sleeveless shirt or something, and you just see like how just like muscular he actually is.
He has those like extra abs on the side of his like your central abs, that you don't get when you're just like working out for movie muscles.
Yeah. He's got like that Bruce Lee body.
Yeah. And I mean, he wears this tank top for a lot of the movie. That's like he's wearing it in a lot of the trailers and stuff too. And he's just got these like really muscular arms exposed for most of the movie as well. Still no facial hair though.
Yeah, apparently, at least according to the trivia section on IMDb, he was told to grow facial hair for the movie because all these men are just sort of living like mountain men.
Yeah.
Like, it's the 19th century, or
but with like laser rifles and shit.
Yeah, what was that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and the
Oh,
bear?
yeah. Shoot.
It's kind of like they're
The one where he
living,
finally won the Oscar for.
yeah, or it's like, if you imagine like that setting, but they have laser rifles.
Less snow.
Yeah, but it's just like always raining or
It's all wooded and
or overcast. Like, and so like there's one scene where someone's like, well, we need some rain. I'm like, everyone I've seen so far has been wearing a poncho or a raincoat and it's wet. What are you complaining about rain for?
right. I mean, they filmed it in Quebec.
Yeah.
Where it's wet and forested.
But yeah, anyway, so it's like all these men living like, it's like the 19th century. So everyone's got, beards.
Right.
Except for Tom Holland, who apparently cannot grow facial hair.
Right. Yeah, so this movie, I mean, like I said, it's a pretty good science fiction movie. It's definitely like one of the best things in theaters right now. Way better than Raya and the Last Dragon, which is a movie that we didn't even bother reviewing because we were. I don't know about you, but for me, I was just so ambivalent about that movie. Like, I just did not give a shit enough about it one way or the other to complain or praise it.
All right, that movie was okay. There were some annoying characters I could have done without. The animation was good. I mean, it's Disney.
Yeah.
But it felt like someone trying really hard to make an Avatar movie without making an Avatar movie.
In some ways, yeah. But yeah, so like when your options are that or
I mean, Avatar: The Last Airbender, not James Cameron's Avatar.
So when your options for seeing a movie are Chaos Walking, Raya and the Last Dragon, or I mean, gosh, what else is even in theater right now? I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah.
So, when those are your options, it's a pretty good option, I think. And I will say this. So, we saw Raya. We saw the first two Lord of the Rings movies in theater. For the 10th anniversary theater run they did in 4K.
More like 20th anniversary.
20th anniversary. Oh, yeah, you're right. 20th anniversary run in 4K, which does not improve it, by the way. And the and then Wonder Woman, is that the last thing? Yeah, so we've been to the theater a few times in the first quarter of 2021. And there was, for Raya and for this, there's actually quite a bit of people in the theater. Probably like as many as 20 or more in the theater for this. And that was a matinee for a movie that people apparently don't care for.
Yeah, so who knows?
On the second weekend of its run.
Who knows? There might have been quite a few people on there on in an evening.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that much like Pripyat, nature is returning. Just hope I don't get any, radioactive deer walking through the theater or something. I'm pretty sure that's what that means. But I'm just excited to see people going back to the theater again because that means maybe like if enough people are going to the theater, maybe they'll push Dune up further in the year.
According to magazines in the UK and Australia, it's got a June release, I think.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Last I saw it was a Christmas release.
No, a few weeks ago I saw where they haven't officially put a release date in America, but like the European and Australian releases are for the same day in June, so presumably the American release is gonna be around that time.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. Well, anyways,
I think it was June.
I think it's probably all we can say about this movie without spoiling anything.
Probably.
So, here's a spoiler warning.
Yep.
So, if you don't want it spoiled, don't watch past this in the video. Anyway, not that there's a whole lot to spoil because,
it's actually all fairly predictable.
Yeah.
One thing that was kind of weird, so there's this native alien species, and I presume they're a bigger deal in the books, but you only ever see one.
Yeah.
One singular alien species.
Like, you see a village off in the distance at one point, but as far as, up close interaction, yeah, only the one. And, yeah, so, the big reveal is that, the aliens didn't overrun and kill all the women. That particular settlement, all the dudes killed the women. And, as soon as you find out that there's other, yes, the big...
That was predictable before I went into the movie. Yeah, I was calling that from the trailer the first time I saw it.
Right, and then the other big reveal is that, there's even more settlements than just the one you're from, Tom Holland, and this one, when they get to this other settlement. There's
thousands of people came on the colony ship.
Right, and you're like, well, we saw maybe 30 dudes in that settlement that Tom Holland's from. Presumably there was, a rough equal amount of women there. So, probably 60 people plus...
There's probably dozens
another 60 people at this other settlement. The ship held 4,000... Well, held thousands of people.
Has 4,000.
Right.
And you see the size of the ship, and you're like, that held a lot of people. I mean, they also had equipment and...
horses.
And livestock. Lots of horses.
Yeah.
Of course, they might have all wound up at Tom Holland's settlement. Just judging by the number of horses they had.
I mean, if I were...
Horse for every man.
If I were... Well, for most of them anyway. Some of those guys were on foot.
Yeah.
If I were going to be colonizing another planet with plants that were edible, I would want to load up on horses, in addition to whatever other equipment, because, I mean, the horse is comparatively low maintenance compared to a motorcycle.
Yeah. There was one of those.
There was one of those for about 10 minutes.
Till Daisy really drove it off a cliff.
Yep. And Tom Holland's horse...
I refuse to believe that horse would have run off that cliff.
Yeah.
He would have seen that edge and stopped.
Or at least attempted
slowed,
to.
Or at least tried to slow down until he knew... Yeah, he wouldn't have leapt off of it.
He might have gone to the edge, because it wasn't a sheer cliff. He might have gone to the edge and then, could have been coaxed into going down the slope, but he wouldn't have, gone full gallop off of the edge of that cliff.
No. But, something else I wanted to bring up.
Oh, the one thing I will say that I didn't predict is that Daisy Ridley was the one who killed the preacher. I was fully expecting that confrontation to happen between Tom Holland
and the preacher, especially because the animosity right from the beginning.
Yeah.
One of the earliest scenes. I was also expecting Tom Holland and Nick Jonas' character to have some sort of fight.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely they're setting up a lot of animosity there, and that didn't happen. I wonder if that was just cut at some point.
It felt like it was more probably knowing that it was from a book series. I feel like that was probably more of a thing in the books.
Yeah. One thing that was weird. So I'm not sure if, and it kind of felt like Mads Mikkelsen was able to control the minds of people through his noise.
I
in
don't.
some
Yeah,
way.
I don't think he was controlling minds. I think he was just like, charismatic cult leader type thing.
Yeah, maybe. But also his logic for, because when they find out when Daisy Ridley crashes, what was her character's name?
Viola.
Viola. Yeah. When she crashes, so they find out there's another ship coming. He wants the ship for the resources it can offer.
Yeah, he wants all the equipment and whatnot.
Yeah, but I mean, there's thousands of people on that ship, so I don't know what he's expecting to do. So I guess his plan was to use her as a bargaining chip.
He said something about ambushing the ship.
Yeah, but I mean, you saw the size of the first ship.
Right. So that's the thing is like he said something about ambushing the ship, like they were gonna lure the ship down to the planet and attack them or something. But
There's still 4,000 colonists on that ship.
and they were only a few dozen in their little settlement.
But then when he showed up to the other settlement and to convince those people, I mean, not too convinced, but while he was there, he decided to try to convince those people to join him. And he uses this argument of they're going to show up and they're going to take all the resources. I'm like, guy, there's only a few thousand people on this entire planet, and you're really concerned about resource management here?
I mean, they could land over the horizon and you'd never encounter them.
Right. Like, come on. And it's a lush planet.
Yeah.
It's not like Tatooine or something where, like, you add 4,000 people to the population, you might actually be affected. But no. It made no sense to me, this argument that he was trying to use to convince people to join him. He also used that same argument on the people in his settlement that weren't his, like, direct minions.
Right.
So, I don't know. It was just kind of a bad argument.
So they called him the mayor, but I'm guessing he wasn't
never
elected.
No. No, I'm guessing not.
Yeah.
But yeah, a big reveal was that the men in this town were not comfortable with women knowing their every thought, so they wound up killing all the women. Because you can't know a woman's thoughts. That doesn't happen.
Yeah. They never explain, by the way, why that's the case, but it does affect the local aliens.
Yeah.
The local non-humans, anyway.
Well, presumably they evolved to use it as some sort of method of communications, too.
Yeah. They didn't have mouths, right?
It didn't look like it did, but it was fishing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seemed like it.
Maybe it just shoves fish right into its stomach. Just there's like an opening in its stomach, and it
Maybe
shoves.
they like pulverize him up and like suck him through a hole or something.
Yeah, maybe. Gross.
Yeah.
I
But
would have liked to see more like strange wildlife, though. They were like a big bug thing and like a tentacle thing. Seemed to be about it.
yeah, that was pretty much it. Oh, the preacher killed the dog. That was a rough spot.
Yeah.
I mean,
Presumably, dogs' thoughts are not. Don't
yeah.
get noised.
So something else that was kind of weird to me was that they had this weird mixture of weaponry. So they had a bunch of these like high-tech looking rifles that fired these like explosive tipped rounds or whatever and made like sci-fi gun noises. They went like or whatever.
Yeah, it was some sort of like magnetic propulsion. It looked like.
Yeah, possibly. But also had like M14s and AK-47s and like someone had a pump action shotgun at one point.
Yeah, and like their gear was a mixture of like a lot of the colonist gear was like old even by our standards.
Yeah, there was like at one point someone was drinking out of one of those plastic like Vietnam through early 90s army canteens.
Yeah.
And so we're just like, all right. I mean,
I mean,
I could see where, you don't really, you could, if all you're needing is a way to carry water with you, and you can get a crate of old canteens for cheap. Okay, but it seems weird that you would have all these really high-tech guns and a bunch of these guns from the Cold War and nothing in between.
I wonder how much of that though was what the production design could get a hold of.
Well, sure, but I would have just gone one way or the other with it.
Hmm.
Like, if you were like, well, we can't have everyone with these high-tech rifles, because it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense that you would ship out, like, you would, like, load up a colony ship full of equipment, and this is the mixture of equipment you'd send them with.
Yeah. It'd been one thing if they had pulled all of the high-tech rifles out of the crashed lander, but they didn't. They pulled repair parts for the ones that they did have out of the crashed lander.
Right.
And then the other settlement also had those.
Yeah, also had some of
ones.
those high-tech
Because this
rifles.
is it's several decades after. Because they're saying it takes 65 years for a ship to make the journey. And so it's been like over 20 years.
Yeah, because they said that the second colony ship left Earth before that first colony ship set up the colony there.
Right. And then Tom Holland is early 20s, and he was born on the planet.
Yeah.
Who knows how long it was before he was born on the planet?
But yeah,
a few years probably.
So, like I said, it's one thing you could imagine that, like, oh yeah, like, you don't need high-tech canteens, so if you can get a crate full of these, like, old canteens, or a crate full of all this, like, milsurp, like, ponchos and stuff, because that doesn't really matter. But it just feels weird when you have, like, this mixture of techs in the weaponry and stuff.
Yeah.
And so, like, the mayor's house was clearly like a prefab building,
Right.
and some of the buildings at that other settlement seemed like they were probably prefab buildings as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which looked nothing like the prefab building in the first settlement.
Yeah, I think the intention for a lot of the buildings was that, at least story-wise, is that because when they see the original colony ship, most of it's been taken apart.
Yeah.
So I think the intention was that they were to scrap the ship for building material.
Yeah.
And at some point they were going to build a monorail. They have all the pylons in place, but no tracks or monorail.
Yeah. Also, big freaking monorail. Those pylons were huge.
Yeah, well, you get higher than the
Yeah,
trees.
but they were, like, way above the trees, though.
Yeah.
And those pylons were, like, twice as tall as the trees. In this old-growth forest.
You never know. Those trees might grow bigger.
Sure. But yeah, so, I don't know. There's just, like, some stuff like that just felt weird. That, like, sort of, like, having such different-looking stuff like that. I don't know. Just felt, I would have just gone for, like, one or the other.
Right.
Either they
at least for the weapon technology.
Yeah, either they ship out with, weapons lockers full of identical equipment, or they ship out with a bunch of, like, surplus gear they could get for cheap for this colony mission.
I mean, like, when Daisy Ridley shows up, the gear she has is more advanced than, like, even, like, the old people who, like, came on the first ship were, like, hadn't seen it before. Because it's been decades since they left Earth.
Also, her stuff is all, like, very clearly, like, a standardized uniform type equipment.
Yeah. Oh, well, anyway. I don't know how much more we have to say about this movie.
Yeah. So our next movie is The Businessman? Is that what that's called? The Courier.
The Courier.
Starring Benedict Cumberbatch. That's this coming weekend. Which Benedict Cumberbatch, Cold War spy thriller, we were in. That was like all that needed to be said about it. I mean, anytime that you cast someone as Nikita Khrushchev, I'm immediately interested.
Yep.
So,
Especially if he does the twist.
does the Khrushchev twist?
Yeah.
So the next movie after that, there's actually March was actually kind of movie heavy. Which is weird. So after that is Nobody.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to that for a while.
Yeah, because they kept like bumping it back.
Yeah.
But we're a couple weeks out and they haven't bumped it again, so I think it's finally gonna happen. And of course, all these are like, tentative, like assuming they don't push these movies back, because that keeps happening. But after that is Godzilla versus Kong, which I am Team Zilla.
Gojira.
What about you?
Yeah.
Team Godzilla?
Team Godzilla.
I mean, it just makes sense. He's got atomic breath. He can breathe underwater. He's a great swimmer.
Apes can't even swim.
Yeah, apes can't swim at all.
Their muscles are too dense. They're not buoyant.
Right. And so, what's King Kong's ability?
Throwing barrels.
Yeah. He
climbing buildings.
Yeah. A weakness to biplanes.
Yeah.
Although apparently
there aren't any biplanes anymore, so we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, but I mean Godzilla takes on Raptors, F-22s.
Yeah.
So, and then after that's Mortal Kombat, which I didn't give a shit about that movie, and then that trailer came out, and I give a big shit about that movie.
Yeah.
That movie looks so cool. That trailer, I mean, it's either going to be a really cool movie. I mean, it's Mortal Kombat, so it's going to be kind of a dumb concept no matter what. But it's either going to be a really cool movie, or they just hired the best damn trailer editor on the face of the planet.
Sometimes that happens.
It does happen. That has happened before. And then in May, it looks like we're finally going to get Black Widow, delayed like pretty much a whole year at this point, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we care about Peter Rabbit 2. Oh yeah, Free Guy, assuming they don't bump it again.
Too, right?
Yeah, that was supposed to come out. That was
summer?
Yeah, that was going to come out in the summer, and then they pushed it back to a Christmas release. And Cruella in May as well, which looks okay. But it's got Mark Strong in it, so, I'll see it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's what we got coming up. Assuming that stuff doesn't get pushed around more.
Cross your fingers.
Yep. I mean, it feels like Warner Brothers has kind of just decided they're tired of pushing their movies.
Yeah. Well, they're going to release everything simultaneously on HBO.
Oh yeah, I think when they made that announcement, they said they weren't going to be delaying anymore.
Right.
We'll see how it works out for Disney. It didn't work out great for Mulan, but I think that was more of people being upset about the politics behind that than about the movie itself. And then I don't know how well it did for Raya and the Last Dragon.
Yeah, I don't know.
It kind of feels like there wasn't a whole lot of hype about that movie anyway, because I feel like I didn't even see a trailer for it until like December or something.
Yeah, that movie kind of came out of nowhere to me. But it just could have been, maybe there was a huge ad campaign on TV, but we don't have TV, so.
Yeah, and it could be that we're just not getting targeted ads for children's animation movies.
Right. Maybe there was a big campaign, but I hardly saw anything on that movie. There were quite a few people in the theater to see it.
Yeah, but that theater in that part of town, every time we've been there, there's been a bunch of people. Well, okay, but both times we've been there, there's been a bunch of people. Both times we've been there were during the shutdown.
Yeah.
So I think people in that part of town, I mean, you work over there. Do people in that town just seem to not give a shit?
No, I don't know.
Because it definitely seems like there's more of people just not giving a shit over there than over here.
Could be.
But,
yeah, I could see where Raya and the Last Dragon is going to be somebody's favorite Disney movie of all time, but I mean, there were.
I
I
walked
don't want
out.
to turn this into a review for Ray of the Last Dragon, but it was okay. Like, I didn't have any major problems with it. My only real problems with it were just some of the characters were annoying.
Yeah.
But you often get that with kids' movies.
Right, and every character Aquafina ever plays.
Yeah. I mean, at least by the end of it, she was less annoying, but right at the beginning,
Yeah, she was pretty
she
obnoxious.
was pretty obnoxious.
But yeah, that movie, I walked out of that movie and was like, I don't think I'll ever see that movie again. You know, whereas now, like, if I were, I mean, I don't have a TV anymore. If I were flipping through the channel and I landed on, you know, like Princess and the Frog or something, I'd probably watch through it. But I probably wouldn't stop for Ray and the Last Dragon. So, but yes, please go see movies so that we can get back on a regular release schedule. From what I've been reading, there haven't been like outbreaks of COVID-19 that have been traced to movie theaters. I mean, like we've been saying since they reopened, the cleaning crews go in there and they just drench the seats in this fast drying and disinfectant and wipe everything down, and which is great because it's the cleanest theater going experience I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
You know, but
They don't even let you pick up your own like condiment packets for your hot dog.
Yeah.
They like ask for specifically for the condiment packets.
Although we got to fill up our own drink at this soda fountain this last time for the first time in a year.
But they do hand you the cup
Yeah.
and the straw from behind the counter.
Yeah. They don't have them in the little dispenser. So, I don't know. Point being, you should go see movies. Like, with the amount of space they're forcing between groups and stuff, it's actually a pretty safe experience at the moment. Now, once everyone's vaccinated, maybe we'll go back to, you know, sticky floors and, you know, packing every last seat of Aquaman.
Oh man, that was
one of the hottest theaters I've ever been in.
That theater generated heat from all the people in there.
All the people in there.
Heat in there.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at Jason Momoa, don't you get hot and bothered? Jeez. But yeah, so please go see movies.
Yeah, please.
Because we know what, I mean, Warner Brothers seems like they're done delaying. Maybe Disney will find that with Black Widow, it's worth not pushing stuff back anymore.
Especially with like Dune coming out, that movie needs to make money.
Oh, I know. That's gonna be such a disappointment if they decide not to make a third movie, because they're already filming the second movie.
Are they? Okay.
That's what I heard.
All right. So, if they don't make, was it Dune Messiah? The second book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yes, please go see Dune in particular. But yeah, so anyway, that's our little end of the episode rant about please go to the movie theater that we've been doing since movie theaters reopened after the shutdown.
Yeah.
So, although like we say that, but we still couldn't bring ourselves to go see Monster Hunter.
Did anyone bring themselves to go see Monster Hunter?
I don't know. I know a couple of people who are really big fans of Monster Hunter. I think they just streamed it.
When I stopped in at Target on the way home from work today, Monster Hunter was on the new releases for the Blu-rays.
That was fast.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Poor Milla. So, yeah. I guess until next time. Thanks for watching or listening.
Bye.
Toodles.